When you make a commitment, be ready for the worst case scenario to happen in order to back it up, because it's not what if it happens, is when it will happen and whether you're going to make it through it or not. And as I'm saying this, this is my typical YouTube background. I am in Dallas, Texas, shooting for a TV show called Make 48. And about 45 days ago, I made a commitment for the 75-day YouTube challenge. And something I didn't realize, that I was gonna be traveling and filming, and I was like, today I had that moment where I was like, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna film this? Because though I have filmed multiple takes on multiple days, I didn't have any videos left over, and we actually burned some of those on the trip down here because I knew I was gonna be in a car for 8 hours yesterday, and then along with other things in work, I just essentially hit this spot where I was like, shit, dude. I don't have enough videos, so we're probably gonna have to film in a hotel room, and then finish up 10 hours of filming today, and then had the guys are like, oh, come down and have a beer, and I was like, oh no, I gotta film for a YouTube video, and they're like, oh, you worked enough, and I was like, yeah, I know, but I made this commitment to myself. And it's the funniest thing about this is that I'll share with you is, like, when you do make these commitments, they will be tested, and they will be tested so hardcore. But the one thing that you need to do is understand your why. Like, why are you doing this? And like, what does it mean to you? And how can you best accommodate that under any condition? And like, for instance, like how I'm accommodating this that I'd pass on to you is like, it doesn't have to be a perfect video. It doesn't have to be a long video. It doesn't have to be anything like the others. It's just literally holding the commitment of making sure that I'm posting to YouTube every day and figuring out the best way possible. And like, even on this video, like this one might not have a bunch of value and might not get a ton of views, but I'm staying committed to myself, which is like the most important part. And aside this, like even another one that got, tested, if you guys have seen some of the other videos, is I'm doing a 30-day dopamine detox, and, no alcohol, no weed, no nicotine. And I got invited tonight to go down and have a couple beers with the guys. And I'm like, man, and in my head, I'm just like, I would love to have a beer with them, but I made a commitment to myself. And it's like, especially when you make commitments to yourself, you always have to think about, like, if you don't follow through with that commitment to yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or does, but you're committing to yourself. And if you don't follow through with that commitment to yourself, your ability to trust yourself goes down. And when you don't trust yourself, you start doubting yourself. And when you start doubting yourself, you really don't feel confident with what you're saying, what you're doing. And that creates a lot of inner conflict inside of you. And I mean, I think that's my why and my what is like, why am I doing this, or why am I following through with this stuff, is like, I want to trust myself. I want to be able to follow through with everything I say and do, and have no second guess of like, will I or can I? Because I think I've had a lot of issues with self-doubt, and I think this is kind of really getting through that and essentially allowing me to show myself that, like, when we make commitments, we're going to follow through with it. And though every day doesn't have to be perfect, when we do follow through with it, it's going to be the best we can do for the situation, which has honestly been a big lesson that's happened these last few days with other commitments and stuff. It's like the universe has given me so many different things to work with as a perfectionist, I think. And essentially what I've seen is like the lesson yesterday that kind of ties into all this was like, I couldn't follow through 100% of my dopamine detox, but when I journaled it, I was like, dude, I did the best I freaking could with the situation that I had. And I spoke up for myself and I did what I could, but also, like, there is a line where it's like, you're going to be throwing stuff that isn't going to work. And instead of just beating yourself up and being like, dang, we didn't, do that perfectly. What you can do, like I said, is the best for the scenario you have. And in doing that, you're still following through with what you said you're going to do, but you're playing with the cards that you have, and you're allowing yourself to take the best route forward with the situation you have, if that makes sense. So, man, all I can say is, if you make a commitment, be ready for the test and be willing to do stuff that you probably don't want to do at the worst time, because it will show up like that. But instead of like being negative about it, just look at it as challenges. You're growing, you're going upward in life, and in order to go up, you have to be tested. And if you're going through a test, you're getting better as long as you push yourself through and get to the other side and allow yourself to know, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what it is going to be exactly what you make of it. But the biggest part is staying committed to yourself so that you can trust yourself, because the more you trust yourself, others will trust you. Peace out, y'all. Have a good night.